It really does seem like people just don't want to work in the Bay Area anymore. If you look at Microsoft's subsidiary, they're already listing 130,000 square footage of office space for sublease. Now, they're not the only kids on the block doing the sublease thing. We got the most infamous one, which is going to be 181 Fremont. This is one of the most prestigious office buildings slash residential buildings. In fact, you could say if you live in San Francisco and you made it, you probably are going to buy one of these condos. 2 bedrooms used to go for $5 million, $4 million. Now they're going for $2 million. But you get the idea. Like if you're rich, if you're successful in the tech industry and you live in the Bay Area, you get a condo in this location. And it's easily going to appreciate in value because there's only a few of these ultra luxury condos. Hyper expensive, but guess what? Even Meta, the parent company of Facebook, is now putting almost 500,000 square footage of office space for sublease. And to this day, not a single person wants it. And check this out. Microsoft's other companies are kind of done with this place. They don't want to stay here. The city is no longer as vibrant as before. In fact, if you check out restaurant bookings, like the data from OpenTable, it just shows you that the amount of people just living in San Francisco is at an all-time low. There's a big population decline, and also California in general in the past few months of real estate transactions, prices actually slightly went up, surprisingly. But San Francisco actually went down. So they're actually kind of like the bad kid on the block. But check out OpenTable. OpenTable's analysis finds that in 2022, San Francisco's metric of seated diners, which accounts for those with reservations made online by phone as well as walk-ins, was down 41% from pre-pandemic, which was 2019. So 2022, they're like, okay, nearly half the people no longer use our app in one of the biggest cities in the world and the tech capital of America. And 2023 is even worse, and people are projecting 2024 is going to be worse than 2023. And the thing is, a lot of these businesses are just simply closing down. They don't want to, because to set businesses up in the Bay Area, there's a lot of regulations. In fact, if you want to set even like a small cookie restaurant, you're going to go through a lot of hoops and hurdles compared to other countries and other cities, pretty much. So a lot of these guys don't want to leave, but they just can't find any way to make money. And Microsoft is kind of done too. They're vacating 50,000 square footage of space in San Francisco. The tech exodus continues. A lot of employees are actually pretty cool with leaving this place. Microsoft is just the latest company to scale down their presence in the city. These companies don't want to leave San Francisco. Remember, these tech companies want to be in places where there's also a lot of tech, but they can't really stay in these areas when startups are refusing to move here. Like before the pandemic, you made a startup, you're a $1 billion unicorn. First thing you do is go to San Francisco, make some connections, get your office, get your condo. But now people have startups just straight up online, and they're pretty much spread out to other cities. Even places like Austin, Miami, Las Vegas, places that are traditionally not tech related. In fact, a lot of these places are like hospitality related. They're getting tech, and that's something that you don't see before. I mean, if you go to Las Vegas, there's actually a lot of tech events, which is a really rarity to see. Even Salesforce's DreamHack event is thinking about just moving out. Okay, they don't really want to stay here. It's probably one of the worst places to live, worst places to stay, and employees just don't feel safe living in an area like this. And having these major companies moving out, it's not just Microsoft, it's not just Uber, and maybe even X in the future, but we're talking about like thousands of startups with employees ranging from 20 to 30 people. Like those are not going to be companies that are going to be on the news articles. They're just going to leave and nobody talks about them. And they don't really complain. They don't write any letters to the city. They just leave. They see how the city is, how the city is deteriorating. They just leave. They don't even talk. And this is why a lot of other cities are getting a lot of talent. And if you look at the San Francisco Bay Area, the vacancies are about 35 to 37%. But the thing is, a lot of these buildings are still being leased out because the leases don't end until like several years later. Like remember 181 Fremont I showed you? Yeah, their lease doesn't end until like 2031. So technically on paper, that building and like 500,000 square feet is still being leased out, but there's no companies in it. I mean, when the vacancies are like 35%, but if you look at the amount of restaurant activity being down almost 50%, it just kind of shows you that it's a massive doom loop. This place is slowly becoming a massive ghost town. If you check out this mobile activity in selected downtown areas compared to pre-pandemic levels, and surprisingly, places like Columbus, Ohio, and Salt Lake City actually experienced a massive increase in the amount of people in their downtown areas, which is fantastic. And then you got like the really problematic cities like Minneapolis, Portland, St. Louis, and San Francisco. How is San Francisco worse than St. Louis? But you get the idea, like only a third, right? The mobile activity in downtown dropped by 2/3, meaning 2/3, 66, 67% of everyone that used to be in San Francisco just no longer is there. And that's very scary. This is why office vacancies are through the roof. And no wonder whole entire buildings are literally selling for 50% off. You could buy 201 Spear Street, which is a high-end office complex right next to the Salesforce building. This building right here, somebody bought this for like $60, $70 million. So this is a humongous building and smack in one of the best office districts. And you're telling me this sold for only $60, $70 million? That's a horrendous price tag. And that shows you that the city is truly dying. And what's really scary and what really sucks is the guys who bought condos in this building, which are ultra expensive, you can clearly see it from the outside. They see their neighboring adjacent buildings selling for 50% off. It's not really exactly the greatest sign that these buildings are ever going to hold their value. I mean, Stewart Lane, they're still selling one bedrooms for $2 million, but I don't think anyone's buying them. In fact, the last transaction for these guys is like several months ago, like almost a year ago. And a lot of these condos and buildings and construction, they're all going downhill. I mean, the economy of San Francisco and the talent and the companies and everything are just all being grabbed by other cities. And every single week, we always see some company, especially now the big boys are leaving. Because at first it was the startups, some of the smaller market cap, maybe a couple downsizing offices. But now we're seeing like big old Microsoft, Google, Meta, all cutting down office space, which leads to even developers and builders taking huge losses. I mean, look at this unit, right? In San Francisco, initially listed for $1.3 million, just sold for $880,000. I've never seen a discount like this for a residential property, like a 30 to 35% off, which is a humongous price decrease. And that just shows you that prices in real estate is completely gone in San Francisco. No longer are the days when people are doing bidding wars. No longer are days when everyone comes to San Francisco for tech. The population drop is actually scary. And before you guys leave, definitely check out the private Discord server, guys. It's a Patreon link below. Check it out. We're trading live every single day. One of our traders this week made 87.5% win rates. The only thing we lost was like the Microsoft calls, but the NVIDIA calls made like 66%. The Tesla calls are awesome, making over 100%. We also got several option alerts here, so definitely check us out. And hey, there's even a free trial. And what is there to lose? Even I follow a lot of these trades. We even have tutorial videos to help you guys, and it's super simple to follow. I mean, a lot of our users, they stay because they make money.